Hi, I'm Max Brantley with the Arkansas Times on Thursday, March the 23rd. More gun news today. We don't get enough guns in Arkansas. The Senate today passed 22-10 Senator Jonathan Dismang's bill to add some exceptions to the brand new day-old legislation that expanded concealed carry permit rights in Arkansas. He would exempt the state hospital, UAMS, and college athletic events, meaning, of course, Razorback football and basketball games particularly, but all college athletic events, from the new bill that says anybody with a concealed carry permit and 8 hours of additional training can go to just about any public place in Arkansas with their concealed gun. Senator Trent Garner rose up against Dismang's amendments. He feared that the wording about UAMS could apply to any college that had a clinic, health clinic of any sort. Dismang said that wasn't his idea. The bill now goes to the House. It'll be interesting to see if NRA backers there are resistant to any sort of amendment for this legislation. You may know that the head of the NRA lobbying arm said yesterday that the NRA's ultimate goal is to have guns everywhere, to be allowed everywhere without any kind of special permitting. They think that makes America a safer place. Speaking of safe places, it'll be safe at the Little Rock Tour Bus Company tomorrow because there'll be Secret Service galore. Mike Pence, the Vice President of the United States, is going to be in Little Rock for a brief visit tomorrow. He's going to talk up the the American Health Care Act, which President Trump is trying to push without much success through the Congress. Tom Cotton is resisting the bill. The Kochs are resisting the bill. I think the ultimate end game by resistors is not for a better bill that covers more people, but for a worse bill that covers almost nobody. They want to strangle government-supported health care, but right now the split between the really hardliners in Congress and the moderate hardliners, if there is a differentiation, is holding up progress on that legislation. Little Rock police announced this morning that they'd made an arrest in that November killing of a man at an East Side detail shop, Harvell Sieber. He tried to shoot back at a woman who was shooting at the shop owner. He was killed. They arrested a young man who's 19 years old this morning. They say there are other arrest warrants outstanding. They won't identify him. A woman was identified as the shooter at the time, and she's not yet in custody. Speaking of police and violence, North Little Rock police began a car chase with somebody supposedly involved in a domestic disturbance this morning, chased him into Grant County. There was a foot chase, and the man has been shot. That's the only details I have at this point. Let's wrap up some good and bad news from the legislature. Missed yesterday the news that Josh Miller, the conservative legislator from Heber Springs, gave a rare do not pass. This is a legislative equivalent of a death penalty to a bill that was introduced by Representative Clark Tucker. What was so bad about this bill? Well, it would have increased the penalty, made it a felony for a state legislator to spend campaign money on personal expenses. A bill that would encourage more ethical legislators can't have that. Do not pass. There was some good news. The legislature did pass legislation, and the governor has signed a bill that will eliminate life without parole sentences in the future for children, that is, people who are juveniles convicted of serious crimes underage. The idea is that they're too young at sometimes to understand what they've done. Perhaps they should have a shot at not spending their entire lives in prison. This bill also will require parole hearings for people who were sentenced before this law was changed. They may not get out, but at least they'll have a chance to make their case. Arkansas Tech settled with legislators who've been trying to shut down a division of the university because of their unhappiness over a sexual education clinic that was put on by LGBT people. We're not entirely sure what the assurances were that caused the legislators from pulling back their effort to kill the Department of Diversity and Inclusion, but they did pull back, and so that's good news of some sort. Nice piece of good news downtown. The Downtown Partnership has refurbished the historic Caves clock. The jewelry store is no more, but there's a fine old clock at Capitol Avenue in Maine, and it's working again. You can now tell time by it. Speaking of clocks, you know the old saying about clocks that don't run, that are right at least twice a day? Well, I'm reminded of Mike Huckabee. He wrote an op-ed piece today for the Washington Post that says the government, and that means Donald Trump, who employs his daughter Sarah, by the way, should not eliminate funding for the National Endowment for the Arts. Mike Huckabee, to his credit, has long been a fan of music education. He's a bass player himself. That stop clock is right on this one. We need that Endowment for the Arts money. He had to take a whiny hit at elitist liberals and anti-Trump people in the process, but the core of the message was correct, so good on Mike. I don't know if it's art when Mike links up with Ted Nugent to play cat scratch fever and talk about stroking pussy, but in any event, we'll give him a pass today. And finally, the Arkansas Senate is really serious about its business. It passed a resolution today urging the NCAA to get more education for its referees. They're sure, the Senate is, that Arkansas Razorbacks had the game stolen from them against North Carolina by blind referees. They passed a resolution that urges this re-education program for referees and said there had been heartbreak, pain, and loss of consortium in Arkansas because of the terrible deed done to Arkansas by those dirty refs. There you have it from Arkansas. I'm still resisting. Hope you do too. I'm Max Brantley.